With such an array of health fads available, it's a relief to know that the ideal tools for healing and health have always been available at home. Hi, I am Christine Lynn Stormer-Fra, also known as Chris Stormer, the Universal Foot Lady. Many years ago, I channeled through at home with Mind, Body and Soul, and although I have shared this amazing information through presentations worldwide, only now have I made time to do these videos. The advantage of being considered off the wall is that I am known to entertain bizarre notions acquired from universal insights and shared by using my hand-drawn charts from my presentations, along with cartoon diagrams inspired by Google to reveal some handy and incredible DIY tools available. Connected to communications and relationship, Orange is known as the ray of wisdom. It loves anything new and exciting and is an assertive energy influencing physical vitality and exciting the intellect. The color of joy and pleasure, as well as warmth, sympathy, and caring, it has incredible staying power. Orange isn't generally the color of choice when it comes to interior design, but used selectively, particularly as an accent color, it can be very effective. Being the color of fun and sociability, it is ideal for areas of activity and creativeness, but is not really advisable for bedrooms. Linked with moving on the old, particularly worn-out relationships to make way for even better liaisons, the number 4's spiritual nature honors sacred spaces in the home and a solid foundation of values and beliefs. The 4th toes reflect the watery flow of interactions mirrored onto the lower halves of the insteps to reveal the affiliation with oneself and others. The 4th or ring finger was once known as the leech finger, stemming from the belief that it's a finger that could cure ailments when pinched or pricked. Allegedly linked to the Greek god Apollo, the ring finger is associated with romance and relationships, with the Romans mistakenly believing a vein, the vena amoris, the vein of love, went directly from this finger to the heart. The energy of numbers in addresses determines experiences at home, while letters also have an influence. Many go looking for happiness at the wrong address, seeking fulfillment through acquiring endless possessions and accumulating greater wealth. Yet happiness is only possible when making delightful things happen. Anything to do with water reveals what is going on in communications and relationships. Too much can create a fear of drowning, whereas too little generates a fear of deprivation and desertion. The body, a walking aquarium, has tissues packed in watery substance known as tissue fluid, forming waterways throughout and reacting immediately to any watery environment, be it snow, ice, a waterfall, and so on. A condensed version of what the mind thinks. The body takes on board a host of memories translated into beliefs to create reality. A symbol of life, fertility, and cleansing, water also represents the subconscious mind and emotions. Being such an adaptable element, it loves going with the flow. When giving in to pricking behind the eyes and the lump in the throat, it is wonderful to have a shoulder to cry on. Welling up from the soul, tears allow deep feelings to surface and be set free. These tears, be they tears of pride, tears of joy, tears of compassion, tears of relief, tears of grief, tears of loss, tears of disappointment, tears of anger, all offer welcome relief. Symbolic of the mouth, the main entrance of the home highlights relationships. Words spoken when stepping through the door sets the ambience, profoundly influencing the occupants. The position of the front door reveals a lot about conversations taking place. For instance, a door to the side of the home often indicates talking out of the side of the mouth and not always being completely open and honest. Clutter is never a welcome sight, with life being in such a mess. Complaints and dissatisfaction drain the body, filling the home with heaviness, while excitement lightens the environment. A lot goes on behind closed doors and locked doors, revealing the dark confines of the mind. Entering a home that is tasteful immediately feels welcoming. The lobby or area immediately after the main entrance represents the vestibule of the mouth. It is here that the mere thought, smell, or sight of food is enough to excite the salivary glands and to make the mouth water. Affected by prior experiences, saliva chemically alters the composition of nutrients. The more relationships are savored, relished, enjoyed, and valued, the more delighted the salivary glands. Communication is all about trust, not technique, and is an integration ingredient in living. If misinterpreted, it can result in conflict. If dishonest, it creates fear, defensiveness, and separation. Meanwhile, a doormat, other than a mat placed at the door for wiping dirt off shoes, refers to a submissive person who allows others to dominate and walk all over them, generally because of not knowing how to say no. Communication is the largest single factor determining relationships, with the very best relationships being able to sit side by side, never saying a word, then walking away feeling like that was the best conversation ever. Mobile phones have taken the world by storm and are one of the most amazing technological revolutions in human history. Not the cause of air cancer or breast cancer, it is what is being heard or felt that may agitate and create a growing resentment or frustration. As a means of communications, everything about the mobile phone draws attention to what is going on in relationships, from a cracked screen and feeling emotionally shattered, to a phone not working when relationships are in the doldrums, to losing a phone and feeling at a loss as to what to say next, to messy recharges when chaos makes it difficult to revive a relationship. At home, many grumble but are treated the best. Complaining about something in a bad-tempered way can set the body off with low rumbling sounds in the stomach when dissatisfied with what's going on or not going on, and in the disgruntled guts when going on about the unfairness of it all, or in the appendix when grumbling about being in a dead-end relationship. Unable to live up to personal, family, or social expectations can cause great pain, with the humiliation and sense of inferiority upsetting the digestive tract as it becomes increasingly difficult to digest what's going on. As the pressure increases, the colon goes into spasm, known as spastic colon, revealing the gripping fear that resides within. Should expectations lead to disappointment, then the kidneys also take the brunt. The best expectation is to expect miracles. Many try to skirt the issue, but there are other skirts adorning the body and skirting boards at home, which used to mean being wealthy. The taller, the wealthier. Meanwhile, skirts have evolved throughout history with feminism and women's rights, from uncomfortable and restrained garments during oppressive patriarchal times to minis after the intervention of the pill. Then in the 80s, as career women attained higher positions in workforces, power dressing came into being to prove that they could have it all, a career, family, and home. Ovaries provide women and their souls the opportunity to fulfill their purpose on earth. Containing ancestral knowledge, they provide the creative spark that moves humankind forward, ensuring that the human species continues to thrive on the earth plane. The more creative the mind, the more fertile ovaries become. An allergy to eggs, whether hard-boiled or soft, is linked to the ovaries and creativity, with issues arising when concerned about putting all the eggs in one basket, having egg on the face, with personal concepts never having a chance to hatch, others keep stealing innovative ideas, or even being reluctantly egged on in the wrong direction. Bringing through exciting new concepts assists in resolving bad reactions to eggs. The Romans and the Greeks were deeply suspicious of trousers, seeing them as an ultimate symbol of horse-riding barbarians, until the Roman soldiers marched into the northern Europe and realized the importance of wearing warm breeches in colder climates. From then on, narrow-cut drain pipes to the extremely wide Oxford bags trousers have been regarded as a male apparel, deemed appropriate for women to wear in the 20th century, first for sport, then for casual attire, and finally for businesses and formal wear. Women who wear the trousers at home are generally in charge, often taking on some of the more masculine duties. Rocking the boat, doing or saying something that upsets others, disturbs the harmony at home. Gossiping and rumors put down the energy and are particularly destructive, with the resultant discontent playing havoc within relationships. Nursery rhymes, originally written to honor local events, express feelings of love or hide real meanings about politics and royalty, like Baa Baa Black Sheep, about a medieval wool tax, with a third going to King Edward I, a third to the church, and a third to the farmer. Mother Goose rhymes started out as metaphors for political statements or moral warnings set to simple tunes to be remembered and passed along, although the original meanings have been lost or toned down, and the rhymes are now childhood games and songs. Hey diddle diddle is not meant to mean anything. It is just humorous nonsense, although diddle can mean cheating somebody or wasting time without purpose. It is believed that maybe the rhyme has something to do with the night sky, with the moon-jumping cow being Taurus, the bull constellation, and the laughing dog being Canis Minor. As for the dish running away with the spoon, this is accredited to the old game played at the Cat and Fiddle pubs, involving a trap ball called the cat. It is suggested that the dish running away with the spoon is due to being so distracted by the game and missing the chance to eat before the plate was carried away. Speaking of pubs, overthinkers tend to become over-drinkers, yet alcohol is neither good nor bad. It's whether it's used to drown sorrows or celebrate life. Also known as spirit, it liberates the soul from human constraints, hence the outrageous behavior when suppressed rage comes out. Highly evolved souls get addicted to being set free and finding an outlet to be unique. Meanwhile, a wine intolerance indicates too much whining at home. Red wine intolerance indicates small-mindedness within the family, and white wine intolerance implies constant emotional whinging, with the alveoli in the lungs likened to bunches of grapes. A preference of alcohol made from fruit helps deal with work issues. Alcohol extracted from grains provides a means of handling relationships, while tipples made from roots is all about family. The spirit in which the alcohol is imbibed affects and is affected by the flow of conversation, having a direct or indirect impact on personal relationships. At one time, bread was divided according to status. Unable to separate the wheat from the chaff makes it impossible to extract any substantial benefits from the give and take within relationships, resulting in insecurity, helplessness, and hopelessness, and these days, wheat intolerance. No bread on the table used to mean that chances of survival were slim, with wheat we eat being the main ingredient, now subconsciously ingrained as an essential ingredient in relationships. If missing, the situation becomes intolerable. Left with the crumbs, being a crumb bum is viewed with disdain, while being a crumb is to be loathsome, repellent, or unworthy. It sometimes feels like the whole world is falling apart and the walls are crumbling when relationships start collapsing. Gluten intolerance is then a possibility, particularly when harping on about something that happened or didn't happen within personal interactions, making it hard to digest current circumstances. The result is feeling victimized, devastated, and hurt, particularly if others are being gluttons and taking more than their fair share. The inadequacy of not being able to do something about it makes the body react badly to gluten. The frustration of being in a dead-end relationship builds up in the appendix, a blind alley with no outlet. Before divorce became acceptable, all the grumbling about the situation would infuriate and infect it until it erupted with extreme aggravation. Divorce is not a bad thing. It happens when a couple drift apart and become two voices, and it offers a way out of a relationship that is going nowhere. Conversations are not just a way of sharing information, but also trigger physical and emotional changes in the brain, changing the body's chemistry. Driving the state of the mind, it becomes open to healthy conversation or closed when fearful of speaking up. Either way, it shapes relationships. Transactional conversations involve asking and telling. Positional conversations include advocating and inquiring, while transformational, also called co-creating conversations, comprise of sharing and discovering for innovative insights, so it requires listening more deeply to others. Fishy business and shifty conversations are bound to get a bad reaction, while shellfish allergies indicate selfish behavior, such as grabbing all the fish coming into the net, or drinking like a fish and getting as drunk as a fish. Then there's being as dull as a fish and fishing for compliments, or even fishing in troubled waters to make profits out of disturbances. Being a fish out of water is bad enough, but when there are other fish to fry and more important business to attend to, it pales into insignificance. When having visitors to stay, remember that guests, like fish, go off after 3 days. Water features in the home reveal what is going on within relationships, thoughts being tapped into when spouting forth, whether the exchanges are wasting time or going with the flow, and creating a sinking or delighted feeling, and so on. The old geezer is a mildly disparaging way of referring to an odd, eccentric, miserable or unreasonable person, generally an old man. So when the geezer in the home plays up or bursts, who is the grumpy old geezer? During the recent epidemic, great emphasis was placed on the thorough washing of hands to prevent the spread of bugs. But washing the hands also means to be absolved of responsibility or future blame, or to refuse to have any further involvement or responsibility for anybody proving to be a bugbear. On a physical level, it is to remove urine, in other words, worked through thoughts and emotions, or fecal matter and wasteful energy, or stickiness when handling a sticky situation, or dirt when dealing with a load of filth within the family, and so on. It is also a way of symbolically washing away anything that wastes time and energy. Not so long ago, baths consisted of a big tub filled with hot water. The man of the house enjoyed the nice clean water first, then the sons, followed by the woman and the children, and finally the babies. By then the water was so dirty the baby could get lost. Hence the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. In the 1500s, many got married in June after their yearly bath in May, but by that time they were starting to smell somewhat, so brides carried a bouquet of flowers to hide the body odor, the start of today's custom. Taking a bath in the US is to suffer a setback. Rather than throwing in the towel, indulging in a bubble bath and washing away the troubles helps in regaining a bubbly personality, especially when bubbling with overwhelming emotions, a pot bubbling over with extra zealous liquid, or having one's bubble or pipe burst, and so on. Then there are those radio and television series known as soap operas, depicting interconnected lives, often in a sentimental, melodramatic way, although the language used often leaves little to be desired. So washing the mouth out with soap and water would be a great way to clean up the act. Singing enhances immunity by harmonizing the whole. As the vibration of singing moves energy around the body, cells are synchronized, and the resultant healing brings the body's vibrations into alignment with the universe. There's nothing wishy-washy about Mrs. Dame Wash-A-Lot. At least she makes sure that no dirty laundry is hanging out for the neighbors to see. Instead, fresh smells of washing wafting through the home are great for clearing the mind and reassuring the spirit. Issues with washing machines immediately points to relationships. When it plays up, look to the dramas being enacted. And if it's flooding from feeling inundated and drowning in sorrow, maybe it's time for a good cry. A bad reaction to detergents invariably happens when it is difficult to deter the gents and get rid of the filth and nonsense going on within the relationship. The world is perceived to be in a mess, which is no surprise when so many lives are in a mess, living in messy homes, creating chaos and tipping the balance. A mess needs to be cleared immediately, especially when in a messy relationship. Distributors of Coca-Cola have long since been using it to clean their engines. It's also great for removing stains from the vitreous china in toilets, eliminating rust spots from chrome car bumpers when rubbed with aluminium foil, clearing corrosion from car battery terminals, loosening rusted bolts, removing grease from clothes, and cleaning windscreens. It may not work, though, with cockroaches, perhaps one of the most disliked six-legged critters in the world, having been on this earth since the time of the dinosaurs. Adept hitchhikers, hopping into grocery bags, shipping containers, or pieces of clothing, and going along for the ride. Also, skilled at sneaking through door gaps and even telephone lines to invade homes, to reveal the resentment of the cock, the man, encroaching on the woman's territory. The lower halves of the soles and arches of the feet are all about relationships with oneself and others, the impact of which is picked up by the lower digestive tract, influenced by what other people say, think, and do. And the lower middle back records the backlash of all encounters. It's a strain when feeling out of place, taken advantage of, or pulled in many directions. Consideration of oneself and others is the key to a harmony within the home. Bowls in the home reveal what is going on in the bowels, the colon of the body, particularly when continually constipated or constantly having to run to the loo. Deciphering the rough from the smooth, the colon evacuates useless past remnants that could threaten personal well-being. Getting rid of them may prove challenging when too much time and energy are wasted arguing or worrying about things that will never happen, or constantly criticizing and judging. Rotten feelings and foul notions also can get in the way, causing dysfunction or blockages. Clearing the passage to the laundry and keeping the washing machine and dishwasher in good working order ensures that the colon can get on with the job. Obsessed with balance, kidneys, like drain pipes and toilets in the home, remove wastewater, with the right kidney dealing with past smell issues and the left with current female paraphernalia. Clearing clogged drains with a mixture of soda bicarb, vinegar and boiling water helps the kidneys to overcome a build-up of disappointment and disillusionment. Lavatories are associated with feeling flush, with abundant wealth, although feeling flush can also indicate embarrassment. So after having a leak or pointing Percy to the porcelain, closing the lavatory seat prevents money being flushed away with the water. Keeping the toilet clean symbolically helps to keep the excretory system in good working order. Prior to toilet paper, water, rocks, leaves, hay, rags, and even wood shavings were used. But nowadays it's often a challenge just getting toilet paper started, let alone knowing which way to install it in the holder. Thankfully, there is no right or wrong way. If tired of constantly giving, then a change of direction of the toilet paper will give an opportunity to receive. Slow dissolving toilet paper is invariably blamed for clogging the pipes, but a build-up of unresolved issues within relationships is more likely to be the cause. Thousands of parts within the body function independently, yet together make up one body. To be healthy, everything must work together. If one part is out of whack, other parts suffer. Within the home, maintaining individuality while functioning together maintains a much-needed balance through giving and taking. It may be the words spoken or written on a letter, note, or card, begrudgingly hung on to, that causes extreme uneasiness and disease in the intestines. Even if hidden well out of sight in a jewelry box or trunk, its energy persists, with its potent impact on the owner of the letter subconsciously plaguing and escalating in the mind. Destroying the letter is a powerful way to let go and make space for the healing. Adoption means growing in the mother's heart instead of her womb. Having said that, souls choose those adoptive mothers with similar issues to their birth mother. Games are played every day to outwit others. Formal games are acceptable outlet for this competition. But with the emphasis on winning rather than just having fun, it is no wonder that sports injuries are so common. The strain of having to be better than others often pulls a muscle that is not willing to give. Games are also frequently played between neighbors, especially unreasonable ones, who don't play ball, drawing attention to unresolved personal interactions. Issues with neighbors to the left of the home, when looking at it, which is the home's right side, it is likely to be past stuff with men and people older than the owner. If on the other side, then women and those younger than the owner. Resolving differences makes for a peaceful home life. Putting on the kettle and having a cup of tea also helps. Kettles with baskets and nets laid in water to catch fish. Hence, a different or another kettle of fish relating to a completely different matter to the one discussed, than a pretty kettle of fish, a real mess, while the pot calling the kettle black, accusing and criticizing another when also at fault. Today, an electric kettle that does not stop boiling picks up seething emotions bubbling uncontrollably beneath the surface and about to erupt, while a kettle refusing to boil knows that communications have become non-existent. Lead cups used to be used to drink ale or whiskey, but the combination was so potent that the imbibers were frequently knocked out and believed to be dead, so laid on the kitchen table for a couple of days, while the family gathered around, eating and drinking, waiting to see if they would wake up. Hence the custom of holding a wake. The best china was generally put out to show off when visitors came for tea. Healthy barriers in the home are important, just like in the body, which has barriers to keep certain substances apart. As relationships evolve, lives gradually become increasingly entwined. But being independent is essential for exploring personal interests without being told what to do. Happy wife, happy life. Every child reflects the mother, while the mother reflects her relationship with father. Meanwhile, everything and everybody in the outer world reflect the inner landscape. Every thought, feeling, and action is a vibration reflected back to source, revealing any attachments hung on to. The human heart and spirit are attracted to their equals, with the law of attraction stating that the inner attracts the outer, while the outer mirrors the inner. The body mirrors all inner thoughts and ongoing belief systems, as does the home. So putting mirrors wherever there is poor lighting can completely transform a dark room, or at the end of a dim corridor. Ancient Greeks believed the reflection on the water surface revealed the soul, but it was the Roman artisans who manufactured mirrors from polished metal surfaces, believing that the gods observed the soul through these devices. To damage a mirror was considered so disrespectful that the gods would bring bad luck for 7 years, with good luck returning after them. Ultimately, everybody is a mirror, regardless of how brief the interaction. It is easy to see unpleasant traits in others, but difficult realizing that these traits reveal unresolved issues within oneself. There are also likable traits, thankfully. Breaking a glass is indicative of change, usually a break from a relationship no longer of value, clearing the way for new opportunities. Choosing the most responsible way to respond to others is a responsibility in itself, and so much better than an automated, conditioned, robotic comeback. There is no need to build up a sweat or sweat it out, although sweat is a great way to let off steam and work through heated issues. Even walls exhibit surface moisture when the occupants feel humiliated. Holding the tongue is a good idea when misery reigns. The robust, velvet-textured tongue uses its taste buds to pick up smells wafting from the nose, to get a taste of what is happening, detecting sweetness near its tip, sourness along its sides, saltiness around its edges, and bitterness towards the back. Once satisfied that it has the gist of things, it thrusts the intrepid, chewed-over interns, mingled with saliva, onto the next stage of the integration, savoring life's experiences en route, making sure that a bad taste is not left in the mouth. Along with the nose, the tongue assists with and shapes speech. Whether the low, muted murmur of a whisper or a booming declaration, few sounds are more evocative than the human voice. Everybody has a unique tone with its own signature and characteristics, so rarely are two voices alike. Angry words, like bullets, attack the auric field and heart, while a loving voice has the power to heal, and a voice tinged with laughter generates buoyant feelings. At home, there are many voices, including that of media announcers, along with the cheerful chatter of children that waft out into the vicinity, sending an energetic imprint out into the universe. Say whatever you like, nobody listens. Ain't that the truth? Teeth, being the decision makers of the body, determine what to take on board, staying firmly shut to anything undesirable, just like the security gates in the home. Brushing teeth is believed to prevent painful conditions such as gingivitis, the inflammation of the gums, when frustrated at not backing up resolutions. Secrets are the most detrimental occupants in the home. Concealing a shadiness of the past and not being truthful unconsciously affects the body's secretions, particularly the mucus in the small intestines. Subconsciously, sticky situations result in excess mucus being made to try and flush out the mistruths. Not knowing what happened causes varying degrees of uneasiness in the body and home, with the possibility of disease in future generations. See what is meant by cement. Cement. Being cast or set in cement is to be firmly or permanently established, unalterable or not subject to change. Yet it can also cement a relationship or cement a deal, while love is the cement that holds everything together. A relationship either has chemistry or it doesn't. The first makes it work, the latter has no chance, since chemical bonds hold atoms together, just like good chemistry between individuals. While getting to know others, chemical reactions change the structure of molecules, either negatively when repelled by acidic comments or positively with loving exchanges, with sparks flying when there's amazing chemistry between two people. The harvest of tomorrow is determined by the deeds of today, with whatever goes into relationships determining what is ultimately derived. Autumnal crops consist mainly of grains, with bad reactions occurring when having to take everything with a grain of salt, or there isn't a grain of truth, or when going against the grain with possible migraines. Responsible for attaining goals through the daily grind, the small intestines are reflected in the passageway from the kitchen to the bathroom, which, if hampered, cramps its style. Villi in the small intestine brush the nutritional intake, taking in anything worthwhile while moving on things wasting time or energy, especially when ruffled from being brushed up the wrong way. To overcome disagreeable situations, brushing the hair puts things back into perspective. Brushing teeth helps remove unwanted remnants, and brushing up and refreshing one's knowledge are ways to brush up one's act. Mushrooms, being fungi and parasites, take up space, with allergies to its cousins like mold and mildew, revealing a bad reaction to being taken advantage of by parasites. So fixing any leaks in the home and using fans to dry out excess moisture becomes a must. Those who swear like troopers belong in the gutter, having possibly been taken from the gutters and even been a gutter child, along with gutter journalism catering for vulgar tastes. The guttural sound produced at the back of the tongue and throat are the body's attempt to clear the way and speak up. Swearing assists in breaking down trapped energy, with the arsehole energetically releasing wind to let go of the rough aspects of life, just like shit. Gutters play an important role in the home, funneling precious chi energy from rain to certain parts of the home, so storing this energy is vital. Garden swings, dating back to goodness knows when, are still prevalent around the world today. Rather than looking through lace or net curtains, sitting on a swing on the porch became a more acceptable way of viewing the neighborhood and encouraged social interaction. Although, with the advent of indoor entertainment, the popularity of sitting on the porch has dwindled. Companion planting, maximizing limited space, repels undesirable insects while attracting beneficial ones for increased pollination and greater biodiversity. Water features also provide more than just visual appeal, taking landscapes to the next level with sounds, texture, movement, and beauty. Water, with its own unique fluidity, softens lines and enhances the natural ecosystem. Finally, moving water is a reminder that relationships are about appreciating the similarities while respecting the differences. If you'd like to explore this more, please go to my website www.alwaysbewithoutthee.com, where you will find information on the 9 books that I have already written on the subject of reflexology, channeling, and the language of the feet, as well as the emotional and spiritual aspects. Remember, healing and health are only 2 feet away.